Viewer beware, month 8.
I have the exact same reaction every month where I'm like, 8? What the fuck? We've done so how many of these?
We've done too many. We've read another 2 books, Jared. How are you feeling?
Yep.
I think I'm feeling a little more enthusiastic this month.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just in a good mood. Who knows?
I said it earlier to Cuff. This is another mid-month for me. It's less mid than previous mids that we've had.
Yes.
But
this is the mid of mid-months, is it?
It's like, it's not mid-mid.
Yeah.
It's like top mid.
It's top mid, okay.
It gets close to crossing into something within the vicinity of good.
Yeah.
But it is still mid.
I think something that needs to be said, this is probably the 2 most unique Goosebumps books we've read so far.
I will agree to that.
Yeah, I think Stein was experimenting with the formula a bit, for better or for worse.
We've said that before. We've definitely said that before with stuff like Let's Get Invisible and Ghost Next Door. But it's still very warranted here.
Yeah, it's that idea very aggressive this month, for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't have a lot to say for our intro. Hello, audience.
Yeah.
Another month, another 2 Goosebumps books. Mr. Stein, I hope you're well.
Yeah?
You don't answer my calls anymore.
We don't talk anymore.
Okay, get us started with You Can't Scare Me.
Jared, I want you to set the scene for me. Before I tell you what I thought, I want you to tell me what you thought.
You Can't Scare Me. Obviously, you look at the cover and you see mud monsters. The original art, obviously, much better. But it's actually one of the covers that I distinctly remember the most. Because it's just such it's like mud monsters, but they kind of look scary.
Yeah.
And the colors, it's brown, but it's like a nice yellowy brown, so it kind of sticks out a little bit more. It's the kind of thing you'd look around in the toilet bowl and be like, oh, that was a cool one. And then you flush. And that's kind of what this book was like.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen you compare a Goosebumps book to little shit before. We hit that point.
It starts off really good, and I really like the setup for the story. I was really on this book's side for the first 5 chapters. Yeah. And then I realized that it was going to be that same setup for the entire book, and I was like, okay, maybe something scary will happen in the second last chapter. And wouldn't you fucking know it, the whole book is set up for one scare in the second last chapter.
Now, with that all out of the way, I actually quite liked this book. Now, let me put it out there. This is not a Goosebumps book.
No, it's not. It's not.
To enjoy it, you have to look at it on its own terms. And I sort of realized as I was reading it what this book was. There's a scene with a cat caught in a tree. Do you remember the cat's name?
No.
Muttley.
Oh, that's right. I just remembered that we write notes for these.
Yes.
And I almost definitely have a note pointing that out.
Now, this is not a Goosebumps book. This is an episode of Wacky Races. It is any cartoon you can think of, like Wile E. Coyote, Tom and Jerry. There's the main character and there's a foil. They're trying to prank the foil. And you're just seeing these elaborate things just fall apart every time. I found it quite entertaining. That being said, again, this is not a Goosebumps book. This is just straight up a weird comedy slapstick book.
Stein wrote a comedy just to give himself some breathing room.
And having that in mind, I actually quite liked that.
I really liked it until I realized it was the whole book.
Yeah.
I was seriously with it until I realized it was going to be everything that I read out of this book. And I want it, but I also want Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, I really appreciate a break from the same kind of books that we read every month. But I'm still chasing that high. And I thought, something crazy, I say it every month, but these crazy, how are we going to make chickens scary? Yeah. It's those ones interest me the most, and I want Stein to win me over. So I want him to win me over with this one. He could have, but he did not. Yeah. But he won you over, because you're weak.
Maybe I am weak. But I think you and I were just looking for different things out of this book. I think that's all.
Sounds like a really sounds like the relationship is ending.
Oh god. All right. So You Can't Scare Me. The main character's name is Eddie, and he's part of a friends group with Molly, Charlene, and Hat. Hat is short for Herbie. I say short for he's just called Hat because he always wears a hat. They're on a field trip. And the queen of the class, top of her class, the main student, Courtney, is showing off. She finds some bees and she starts playing with the bees, I guess.
Stein so perfectly sets up every reason you need to hate this girl.
She's not scared of bees, and the other kids are like, I'm not scared of bees either. And then she throws the bees at them, and they are scared of the bees.
Yeah.
She really shows them. And Eddie's like, you know what? I'm sick of Courtney's bullshit. We're going to prove once and for all she can be scared by something.
Can't scare me.
So this entire book is just them coming up with ideas to scare Courtney and then failing miserably.
It feels like an episode of Always Sunny. You're following these Seinfeld-esque characters that they're trying to do a bad thing and it always blows up in their face. Bad thing. It's innocent kid stuff, but it's still I'm following arseholes doing arseholes things and it blows up in their face because they're arseholes.
So the first prank they have is I don't think it's is it an actual snake?
No, it's a toy.
Yeah, it's a fake snake.
It's a stuffed snake? I think it's a toy that was stuffed because bad thing happened to toy snake. I'm spoiling the next scene.
Yes, so they put the snake in her lunch bag. And the thing about Courtney is, oh my god, she gets the best lunches and then she has too much of it. So she gives it all the way to her friends. So she's the most popular girl in school. And oh my god, Courtney, why are you so perfect? I hate you. And then the teacher comes up, Mr. Melvin, is like, oh wow, Courtney, you've got some lovely lunch today. May I have some? Yes, you may, Mr. Melvin. And he opens it up and there's the snake in there. He's like, oh no, and he got pranked instead of Courtney. And it's oh my god, Courtney, you got us again.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at you. Keep going.
Yeah, and then next prank, they get a tarantula. It's okay, we're going to put a tarantula in her hair. So they get the tarantula, and they're like, guys, where are we going to put the tarantula? We just forgot to put in a box or something. And then they hide in a locker, and they get stuck in there with the tarantula. It gets out. They're
gets out of the nothing they had.
Yeah, it just drops or something, and then they do pick up the tarantula in the end. And I think their friend Molly distracts Courtney so they can get the tarantula in there. They're on a balcony. I think they're going to drop it on her head. They drop it on Molly's head instead. Oh, they got foiled again.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah. Next prank, they're like, okay, I think it's Molly. She's got this big dog, Buttercup. We're gonna take Buttercup and we're gonna lure her into the woods and we're gonna have her be chased by Buttercup. And then they do that, but except Buttercup runs away because obviously this was never going to work. And then they think they find Buttercup, but it's actually an actual big scary dog. And then they get chased, and then Courtney finds them, and Courtney befriends the big scary dog because that bitch, nothing scares her. Oh my god, nothing scares Courtney. So they get together and they're like, okay, we've tried everything, we've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas. What are we gonna do?
Didn't you fucking quote The Simpsons?
Yes! And then Eddie's walking home at late one night, and the shadows are chasing him. I don't know, he's hallucinating the shadows of the trees chasing him. And he comes up with an idea. We're going to scare Courtney at night. So the plan is, something I've forgotten to mention is...
Yeah, you've got a whole bee story you haven't spoken about.
Yeah, big bee story. So Eddie's brother is doing a short film about a local legend in their town's Muddy Creek.
This is where the mud monsters come in.
Yeah.
Hadley wasn't going to mention it.
The premise of the story I forgot to mention. Oh, that's no good. So, okay.
You really like this book, don't you?
I did. So, there's this old legend. There were these poor people that got chased out of the town, and they lived in the creek instead of living in the main town. They built all these mud houses, and the people wouldn't help them because they were poor. And then one day there was like a mud avalanche.
There was like a big rain or flood or something, and everybody in the muddy village died.
Yeah, and there's this legend that once every year on a full moon, they rise again to get revenge on the townspeople that neglected them. So I think Eddie's brother scares him with the costume at one point. It's like, that's a really convincing mud monster costume. And that's where Eddie gets the idea. We're going to lure her out to Muddy Creek, and we're going to scare her with these fake mud monster costumes. That'll really get her. So they all get there. They've lured Courtney there, and
the phone call. Talk about the phone call, please.
So,
the phone call was
yes. So their first attempt to get her there is Molly's a really good voice impressionist, and she does a really good impression of Courtney's best friend Denise. Breast friend. And she's like, "Hey, Courtney, we're going down to Muddy Creek. You want to come?" Denise, how are you talking to me? You're standing right next to me. Foiled again.
Thank you, Stein.
And
I'd just like to say thank you, Stein.
Beautiful. Molly comes up with a better idea. She's going to use reverse psychology, where it's like, "Hey, Courtney, we heard a rumor that the mud monsters are coming out tonight. We're going to go check it out." "I'm too busy tonight." "Yeah, I thought you were too scared to do it." Fuck did you just say?
What do the cool kids say? Girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight.
Yeah. They trick her with reverse psychology into coming to Muddy Creek. So they go to their treehouse, because of course they got a treehouse, and they're staking it out. And then the main group are in a bush. They've set it up. The brother's going to come over, and they're going to wander out of the Muddy Creek.
Yeah, the brother and his friends.
Yeah. And then the mud monsters, they come over, and they're slowly shambling over to the treehouse like, "Oh yeah, brother's gonna get him good." And then they turn around, and there's the brother and his friends in their costumes. Like, hang on.
He's like, "Sorry, little bro."
Yeah.
You know, there was like, "Oh, we like popped a tire or something down the road. Sorry that we're late. I hope that hasn't ruined anything for you." And the brother's like...
And then they realize, and they're like, "Courtney, get out of there!" And then they all run away screaming the mud monsters were real all along. And then the next day, Courtney's boasting about how she saw a real monster and how cool it was. And I'm going to read out the last line, because it's my favorite last line in a Goosebumps book, in my opinion. So, we'd really like to scare Courtney once and for all, but we can't. We're just too scared. Perfect ending to a book that was okay.
I love it. The more you spoke about it, you were like, "Oh, I should stop sucking dick right now."
No. I never said I loved it. I just said I liked it, and I do. But I really like the ending, because it sort of caters to the Goosebumps thing, where it's like we do get that scary ending, but also it resolves the story in a nice way where the main characters just give up. They just can't do it.
Yeah.
They lived up to the title, "You Can't Scare Me." Yep, that's right.
Yeah. I was really hoping the mud monsters would come in like halfway into the book, and they'd be responsible for their friend dying, and they'd have to like mount a rescue or something. Like, that's what I was like really hoping for, and like they had to face their fears of the mud monsters, and they had to do something. But the whole thing led up to, "Oh no, mud monsters are real." The end.
It is a very predictable ending.
And it doesn't even go any further than mud monsters are real.
Yeah, they don't really do anything. They just chase them, and then you never see them again.
That's it.
So again, if you go into this expecting to be scared to get a Goosebumps book, you're going to be disappointed. I'm sorry. I still had a good time with it, in my personal opinion.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I have no strong opinions on it. The ranking is once again going to be me stopping you from putting this book higher than it should be.
Number 1! Let's go.
The most that any book could hope for with you is number 2.
No, I'm not putting... I'm not even... I don't think it's going above a Girl Who Cried Monster.
We literally have a space in this video where we're going to look at that. You don't need to worry about it right now.
Okay, shall we read our notes?
I'm bringing out my notes.
Yeah.
I've actually hit a point where I'm not writing as many notes anymore.
No, me neither.
I find that we just naturally speak about all of them. I'm mostly writing notes for any of the really, really funny, quirky things that I know I'm going to forget. Sure enough, my third note is just Muttley the cat in all caps. My first note is hat. I'm going to be calling a kid Hat for this whole book. They subvert the very first cliffhanger, and at that point in the book, it's a really, really good way of setting up the tone and characters and everything. It reminded me a lot of Girl Who Cried Monster, where it's like we use the cliffhangers as like a storytelling device to inform characters, and establishing how it's like different to most Goosebumps books. It reminded me of that. And I'm kind of happy to be reminded of that book as well. I think there's a lot of fun things in that one that I would like to see in a better book.
Someday.
Remember how I mentioned, I read this one before Hadley, and then when I handed it to her, when you first read it, I was like, did you pick up on the Fever Swamp reference?
No.
And you didn't. Go to page 60. Bottom page 60, I actually wrote down where it is.
A huge growling dog, I thought. I pictured it in my mind. I pictured it raising its head to the moon and howling like a wolf.
That's just the cover of Fever Swamp.
That's true. That's also just things that wolves do.
But that's also the book right
before
this one.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Pixar.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2/3 in is when I went, oh, okay. I'm not getting anything out of this, am I? This is my favourite note. He did it again. A promise of future scares, an empty promise.
That's what I wrote. I think, is that the end of chapter 18?
I did not write that in chapter 4.
I'm pretty sure I wrote, like, I'm calling them the ominous foreshadowing cliffhangers now, because it's like, we don't have anything scary right now, but maybe soon.
Yeah.
It was time to admit defeat, I told myself. Little did I know just how scary things were soon going to get.
That is so incredibly lazy.
Yeah.
That is like inexcusably lazy. And he fucking does it so much.
It's like, yeah.
Oh, alright.
You got anything else?
Yada yada yada. Oh, my last two notes are big surprise. This sucks too.
Electric Boogaloo.
And then I said hurts just a little bit because I like the setup.
Why did you do the Robert De Niro impression?
I'm doing it so much.
Oh, you're not going to get that reference. That's okay. So this has a quiz.
I didn't even read the "You Can't Scare Me" stuff at the back of this one.
Yeah, I thought I would, because that's what you were doing for a little while.
I usually do. I just didn't have the time with this one.
No, fair enough. So, would you like to do the quiz?
Going in blind for a quiz?
Yeah, okay.
Please.
So, at the end of Night of the Living Dummy, Lindy and Chris defeat Mr. Wood by A, chasing him under a steamroller, B, letting their dog chew him to bits, or C, covering him in monster blood.
Steamroller, baby.
Steamroller.
I wish it was covering him in monster blood. Could you imagine like a 10-foot tall Slappy?
Oh.
That is a crossover book that we... Stein.
Do it.
Stein, you have my number. We can sort this out, bro. Don't worry about it, man.
When Carly Beth puts on her hideous Halloween costume and the haunted mask, she is shocked to become A, very, very angry, B, very, very strong, or C, invisible.
Ooh, let's get invisible. That's what happened in that one. She
Yeah.
went invisible. She wasn't just angry.
It's like the ring in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
What actually happens?
She get angry.
There you go.
You can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me angry.
What happens to Evan's Cocker Spaniel Trigger after he eats a little bit of the bright green goo from Wagner's Novelties and Sundries in Monster Blood?
I could have done without hearing Trigger.
I'm sorry.
It's like... I just really don't like it.
It's
Okay, what happens?
So A, all of the dog's hair falls out. B, he becomes paralyzed. Or C, he doubles in size.
Double in size.
That's true.
I've read Goosebumps before.
So what doesn't Sam wish for, and be careful what you wish for?
Oh, fuck.
A, that Judith had met the Crystal Woman instead of Bird. B, for Judith Bellwood to disappear. Or C, for her team to win the basketball game.
She doesn't wish for her to disappear.
She does.
No, that's right. She doesn't wish for them to win. She wishes for her to be the best.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You lost a question.
Oh fuck! I'm such a failure. To be fair, fuck that book. As you were saying.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one coming up. What frightening things happened during the coffin cruise ride in One Day at Horrorland?
We can't spoil the next book, Hadley.
Am I gonna read out?
Yes.
All right. A. The passengers are attacked by spiders. B. Luke and Lizzie are trapped inside. Or C. The bottom of the coffin falls out.
The bottom of the coffin does not fall out.
I'm not saying what doesn't happen. I'm saying what does happen.
Oh, what does happen?
Yeah.
Okay. I totally stopped paying attention. What does happen?
Yeah.
They get locked inside of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't there a spider part? No, she thinks they're spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, Gabe is surprised when Sari A. saves him from scorpions, B. pushes him into the scorpion pit, or C. hides in a mummy sarcophagus.
I cannot remember. Because like any of those could have happened. Because fuck that book. More than the last time I said fuck that book, fuck this book. I'm not answering. I don't fucking know.
Hides in a mummy sarcophagus.
He hides in...
She hides in a mummy sarcophagus. It's really early on in the book. It's one of her first pranks.
Is that in the...
That's in the tomb.
In the tomb.
That's when they first explore it.
Yeah. That's such a weird fucking book.
So last question. What happens when Greg takes his own picture in Say Cheese and Die? A. He gets into a terrible car accident. B. He falls down the stairs. Or C. Nothing. Greg never takes a picture of himself.
What was the very first picture with the stairs? Was he in that one? Because it was an accident.
Well, I can't tell you because that's the answer.
Okay. Is it that one?
No.
Fuck.
I think Michael's the one that falls down the stairs. Don't ask me why I remember all of this. I just do.
You have to edit these things, so you need to live through it more
Yeah,
than
that's
I
true.
do.
That's true. All right, that's the end of Say Cheese and Die.
What was the answer?
Oh, he never takes a photo of himself. Okay.
That's the dumbest book. Just don't take a picture.
Just don't.
Just don't take pictures.
Thank you for reminding me, Cuff. All right, let's move on to the TV adaptation. Some choices were made.
Good eating. Good eating.
So, it's a one-parter, so obviously a lot's getting cut out.
Good because you easily could cut out 2/3 of the book.
Yes. Half of the cast are gone. It's just Eddie, Hat, and Courtney. That's it.
The brother's not there.
Yeah.
There's no short film that was being made, which unsurprisingly was my favorite part of the book. I thought that would have been wonderful to see on camera, but no, we didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
What we did get. Remind me what we did get.
So I think the first major change we need to talk about is there's only one monster, and it's because of one word: budget. I think it was a wise choice to make because the mud monster actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, he's got a. You need to pull up a side by side with the mud monster's face, and I think the center one on the original cover. I think they did a really good job recreating that face in particular. But of course, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, all good.
But please delete this if it's not.
No, I'm picturing it. I guess talking about the elephant in the room, Eddie is played by a person of color, and he is not the main character. I'm gonna say it because we needed to talk about it, but the main character in the book was Eddie. In here it was Hat because he's higher build and he got more screen time.
Racism?
Yes. I didn't want to say it.
Racism.
But this is the first time the main character's been played by a person of color. I'm just saying.
Racism!
You're
welcome.
Yes. So, should we just get to the ending?
Yeah, that's the only interesting thing. Just imagine a highlight reel of the book until you get to the ending.
Yes.
You're not eating?
No, I left my lunch at home today.
I already get to lunch. Then please have a little of mine.
Oh, no. No, I
Why does he look green screened in? Or it's just the way the light's bouncing off his head.
Well, thank you
Like, I'm not crazy, right?
I'm not listening.
Okay.
Great, we'll get both of them. And maybe if we're lucky, Mr. Finley will think Courtney did it on purpose.
You should say all of that again.
Well, he doesn't anymore, so... Now I sound crazy. No, look at him. Look at him. He looks blue screen.
Racist.
Okay.
You're saying the black man doesn't look right in the frame, and it'd look better if he wasn't there? That's what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So please speak about the last 5 minutes.
So they, instead of there being like the brothers, they come up with the idea of Eddie dressing up as the mob monster. He looks like shit. He's just covered in mud. Something that gets called attention to, but doesn't matter at all, is that bits of mud is dropping off him and is like growing into big piles.
Vaguely spooky mud stuff happens.
Nothing comes out of that.
I thought it was going to be he was turning into a mud monster, or it was mud people forming around him.
Yeah.
It's just mud.
It's just mud
It's
doing
just
mud
mud.
stuff. Maybe it's just me, but that mud do be looking kind of yummy.
I'm so glad I've got a video of you saying that.
It looks like custard.
It looks like chocolate.
Yeah.
Like chocolate custard, yeah. That's like when your Milo cup, like your Milo cup ice cream has melted, and there's all like the frothy stuff on the side.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
That's exactly right. I'm glad you agree with me, Jared. So they try to scare Courtney, except the real mud monster's coming up behind Courtney. It's like, Courtney, the mud monster's right behind you. Oh, you trying to get me again? There's no mud monster behind me. Oh. And then...
Don't interrupt. I can feel your anger. But why? That's what we need to look at. Now, isn't that better? Now, we have to talk about your aggressive behavior.
Oh my god, what is happening? What is happening?
He's crossing his arms!
Best episode so far. Courtney gives the mud monster a lecture about the life choices it has made.
It fucking stands there and takes it. It folds its arms!
You've given me a lot to think about, Courtney. Cup his mouth agape. He is shocked.
The mud monster
Yeah.
stands there
Yeah.
listening to Courtney's lecture for so long
Yeah.
that the sun dries it up.
Yes. Courtney just talks the mud monster out of eating her. And
He's nodding his head, he's thinking, he's folded his arms. He lies down in the grass and he's like, I need to think about what I'm doing. And the sun dries him and his skin starts to crack. And he's dried up dog shit. A question from the back of the class. Yes,
Another
no?
question. That is a joke that we would make while writing a script, and we would riff on it for ages and ages, and we would get really attached to it, and then we would eventually go, "Oh, we can't do that."
We're going to have to cut it. It's just not that funny, actually.
I don't think people would believe that's actually what happens. I'm showing you the clip. That's how the story is resolved. And then Courtney walks away, goes back home. Eddie and Hart are very
There's news reporters there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the big story is how Courtney
Yeah.
talked to the mud monster and I guess defeated it with
That's
facts and
right.
logic.
Whatever. And then they all go away, and then Eddie and Hart are sitting down defeated, and then the mud monster wakes back up and chases them, and it's da-da-da-da.
It wakes back up because it starts raining and it starts to rehydrate it. And they're just sitting down like, damn, I can't believe we couldn't scare her. Just nothing can ever scare her. I can't believe, not even the actual mud monster could scare her. And then the rain, tears in the rain.
Good adaptation.
Yeah.
One of the best, perhaps?
The bar is really not that high.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one that you'll see it in the footage. We're bored as fuck for like 15 minutes. We're like, yep, you can't scare me, and boy, I can't wait to get to the mud monster. And then for the last 5 minutes, we're just like,
You were checking your phone before the opening even started.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was something. Thank you, TV producers. Thank you, writers. I'm not going to thank Stein, but everybody else.
All of the stuff we
I'll-
liked wasn't in the original book.
No, fuck that. I don't know what the fuck they were smoking, but send some of that shit my way. Oh, God. Alright, there's nothing else to say.
No.
Just the pure fucking insanity of that, 5-minute chunk. And then we move on to the next one.
Here's today's Muddy Creek Creek Observer. The Legend of the Mud Monsters was written by Courtney King.
The Muddy Creek Observer. They've got a local newspaper.
Dedicated. The whole newspaper is one page, and it's like, was the Mud Monster sighted today? No.
Was Daredevil in this week's She-Hulk?
No. Okay. One Day at Horrorland. This is one of the bigger franchises in Goosebumps. Obviously, there's an entire series of Goosebumps books called Horrorland. So you kind of go into this expecting something special, something bigger, something akin to the power of like the Living Dummy books. Maybe even I'd throw like Monster Blood and Haunted Mask up there as well. Some of the most iconic Goosebumps books. I don't think there's anything special in this book. It's a really funny one, or at least it wants to be funny. It's very tongue-in-cheek. I think I laughed once, genuinely, in this book. And it's a good laugh. It's a good laugh.
I think I told you, for better or for worse, this is the silliest Goosebumps book we've read so far.
Definitely. It's one that doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No.
And you're in on the joke the whole time.
Yeah.
But the characters aren't. The characters aren't in on the joke. And it's kind of a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Just to be like, why?
They're also very annoying characters.
There's not a single character in this book that I like.
I liked the parents.
No.
Alright.
No, I didn't even like the parents.
Normally
I love the dad. Normally I love the dad.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. The dad was really frustrating in this one.
Okay.
So was the mum, actually. All the characters are really frustrating.
I liked the horrors.
The horrors were fun.
Yeah. Because it would be very easy to just make them generic monsters, but they kind of have like a dry wit about them.
Yeah.
You never know if they actually want to eat the children or if they're just fucking with them.
Everything that they say, you can just like see like a wink and a nudge.
Yeah.
They're just like...
By the way, the horrors are the mascot of Horrorland, if you didn't know. Those guys.
It's got a very good cover, originally, of course.
Yeah.
This one is dog shit. But the original cover, it's another one of the most iconic Goosebumps covers.
I can only think of 2 reprint covers where I've preferred them, and that was Say Cheese and Die and The Blob That Ate Everything.
Yeah. Is there a redo for a Shocker
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there is.
I think it's basically the same cover.
Yeah, that's another one that I really like. I really like the cover of that one.
I read that one as a kid. That one's interesting.
We spoke about this before.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's one that I like as well.
Okay.
So, One Day at Horrorland. This book stars... Wait, hang on. We didn't speak about how you feel. I imagine you feel the same way that I do.
Yeah, I think it's inoffensive. I think pretty much you summed it up. I enjoy the idea of Horrorland, and I quite enjoy the horrors themselves. Before we get right into it, I want to describe how the book opens, because it is some of the worst writing I've ever seen.
You get to hold the talking book.
Okay, the talking book. So, I'm gonna read out the first couple of paragraphs, and I'm gonna explain what's wrong. As we entered the gates to Horrorland, we had no idea that in just a few hours we would all be lying in our coffins. I am the calm one in the Morris family. Everyone says, Lizzie, you're the calm one, and I'm trying to tell the story calmly, but believe me, there's no way. We had never planned to go to Horrorland. In fact, we never heard of it. The 5 of us were squeezed into Dad's little Toyota on our way to spend the day at Zoo Gardens theme park.
Zoo Gardens theme park!
Yes, awful name. But Jared, do you know what was wrong with those opening paragraphs?
That was literally the book opened with a promise of future scares, the thing that I talk so much smack about.
No.
Was there another problem? Because
Yes.
that's the main one for me.
This is... Cuff nose, what is it?
Is it that the film? Is it that the book teases that they're all going to be dead because they're in coffins, but then in the next paragraph they go, and I'm here telling you the story, so you know that it's a fake out right from the get-go?
No.
Oh.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah. This book is in media res.
Okay.
So, as we entered the gates into Horrorland, we didn't realize that we would be entering coffins, and then it's like, we had never even heard of Horrorland. We were all cooped up in our car. So we go from coffins to entering Horrorland to being in a car. Bad. Do not foreshadow within foreshadowing.
I'm just looking.
Awful.
I'm looking at the board and I'm already deciding its fate.
Oh boy.
I'll admit that I was born stupid, so I did not quite pick up on how painful that was. Oh dear lord.
That's awful.
That's so fucking bad.
Please describe the plot to this book.
This book follows the Morris family and their friend Clay.
He's here.
Yeah, Clay's a character. We just needed an extra body to be scared. And they're on their way to Zoo Garden Theme Park World Deluxe Land 3D All Stars. And they're lost. They're driving through the desert, and the dad's like, we turned right there before. Dad's lost. Mum's getting mad at dad because they don't know where they're going. Kids are going crazy in the backseat. They pass a sign that says, "This way to Horrorland, spooky scares the light." And everyone goes, well, we're not going to find the zoo park place, 3D All-Star World Galaxy, so we should go to Horrorland instead, because the sign says to turn left here. And everybody goes, what a splendid idea. So they park there, and there's all these abandoned cars, and the place looks very spooky, and they get out of the car, and the car blows up. The car blows up.
The car blows up.
The car just explodes. So they have to go into Horrorland now.
I never expected terrorism in my Goosebumps book.
So then the mascot, the first horror they see at the front gate, they're just like, don't worry, we can sort this out for you. Just why don't you guys come into Horrorland? And the parents are like, we're going to stay out the front here, and we're going to figure out how the fuck we're going to get home with an exploded car. Don't even know if it's going to be covered in warranty. Why
they
don't
try
you
to
kids?
call someone, but there's no phone.
Is there a sign that says no phones?
I think well, he does. The horror is like stressing like there are no phones in Horrorland.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Right. They've got quite a few signs with like the do's and don'ts of Horrorland.
Yeah.
One of the kids is like pinching a lot, and then they pass a sign that says no pinching. It's a very funny moment where the kid's like, oh, I'm gonna pinch you. There's a sign that says no pinching, and the Horrorland's like, don't let me tap the sign. And then the kid's like, oh, no pinching. And yeah, it's just like, kids, why don't you go ahead and go have fun in the spooky park, and we'll find a car.
I do kind of like the dad here, where it's like, but our car blew up. No, but we're gonna have fun. But the car blew up.
It's so like, it's the most like extreme way to set up the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a pretty good signifier that you shouldn't be taking fucking anything serious. Because the car blows up.
The car blows up.
So what do? They walk around. There's like werewolf village, vampire swamp, whatever. I don't fucking know. They pass all these vaguely spooky areas. There's all horrors everywhere. The mascots fucking walking around. There's kids walking around crying with their parents consoling them because the rides are just too scary. And the first ride they go on is a slide. And it's a slide of doom. And there's all these signs being like, look out, if you choose wrong, you'll slide forever. So what they do is there's 5 slides. And you pick one and you go down it. So they all pick one. And then at the other end of it, only 2 of them come out. So one of them is sliding forever.
Do you remember who it was?
Is it Clay?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Clay. Little shit deserves it too. So then they're like, oh no, you know what we need to do, because like, maybe he's sliding forever. The signs are warning us. And then the little brother's like, no, it's just a park. Don't be silly. I bet he's just somewhere else. And the sister goes, all right.
She does that verbatim, by the way.
Yeah, she goes, all right, listen up, punk. What we're going to do is we're going to have to go down the exact same slide that he did. We need to find out where he went. So they go up and they do it, and they go down that slide. And they slide for a very long time, and it's really scary.
It's on fire at one point.
It's fucking, you literally slide through hell. Right when she thinks, oh no, this is it, I'm going to slide forever, the slide stops. And they're in somewhere, and Clay's there, and Clay's like, wow, wasn't that so cool? What took you guys so long? And everyone's like, Clay, shut the fuck up. And then they go into the Hall of Mirrors is next?
Yeah, I think so.
They go into the Hall of Mirrors, and it's a Hall of Mirrors. And you think you're talking face to face with your friend, but it's actually just a reflection, because there's mirrors everywhere, and it's really spooky scary. And then you walk into a room, and you realize that when you turn around, there's no door, that's just a mirror. and then you realize you're boxed in, and then you realize the walls are moving in, and then right as you're about to get squashed, the floor gives way and you slide out again, and you're in another place. So it's a whole lot of almost got-ems.
Yeah.
You think, oh no, this is it, and then right at last minute you go, it's just the silly ride, don't worry about it.
It's very repetitive.
Yeah, it happens twice and it's repetitive.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that?
They meet up with
find the parents again. Yeah, and the parents are like, they say we can win a car. What do they say? They're going to organize a car.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and they were like, why don't we go on one more ride while they do this for us? And they go for the Coffin Rapids. And it's a ride down the rapid rivers, but you're riding in a coffin. And it's really peaceful for a while, and then the coffin lid slams down on you. And you're trapped inside the coffin, and the river gets way more rapid. And then the sister's like, oh no, there's spiders in here. And then the coffin doors open, the lid opens, and they get out of the coffin. And it's like, we had you for a second, didn't we? And then they start walking back through the main plaza, and there's no kids anymore, and there's no families, and they can't find the horrors anywhere. And everyone's like, this is really spooky, what's happening? And then all of the horrors come out, there's like 40 horrors, and they go, we got you good, you're on television. And it's the Monster Channel, it's a hidden camera show, you've been punked. And
I love this little exchange where it's like, I've never heard of this show before. It's on the Monster Channel. Oh, that's right. We don't have cable.
Yeah, we don't have cable. And then everyone's like, wow, you got us really good. Hey, Mum, maybe we should get cable so we can get the Monster Channel. And Mum's like, you know what? Maybe we should because they got us good. They got us good.
They're very good sports about this.
Yeah, they're like, you fucking scared the shit out of me, but good job. And then they're like, why don't you just walk right this way because the front gate is locked and you guys can get out of here. And they walk through the door, and the door shuts behind them, and it's like, but how are you going to get home without a car? You've got to take the Horrorland challenge. I could not for the life of you tell me what the Horrorland challenge was.
They get attacked by some monsters.
I think you can see everybody die. There's parts where the point of view character is the fucking sister.
Yeah.
Good time to mention that. I think she thinks that everybody else is dying and she desperately needs to run for the exit. She's like, there's no way I can save them. My brother just got crushed by a werewolf foot. I just need to run for the exit. And then I think she gets got as well. And big surprise, nobody actually died. It was just another scare. And then out comes the CEO of Horrorland, the lady in charge. She's a horror as well. And she's just like, so sorry about that. We had to get the one last scare out of you. Unfortunately, nobody actually really leaves Horrorland, and all the horrors start to crowd around them and push them towards, the fountain. It's like the fountain of blood, and it's like, you're going in there, you're going to drown in there, you're going to die, because this is Horrorland and it's spooky now. And then the daughter goes, that's enough, and she goes to grab the rubber mask, to pull the mask off the horror, but it's not a mask, that's its face, and they're real monsters. So this is a real television show for real monsters on a real network called the Monster Channel. So there are monsters living all over the world, and this is their actual real entertainment. So that's fun. And then the horrors are all like, people always come here and they think that we're just silly. They think that it's just funny hee ha ha games to scare everyone, but this is actually all very serious to us. We take this all very serious. All the warnings that we write for these rides, we're letting you know what's actually going to happen. And then the daughter goes, wait a minute, all of the signs are serious? So why did you say no pinching? And then she pinches the CEO, and that is the weakness of all the monsters, and the monster dies.
They deflate.
They deflate like a balloon if you pinch them. So then the daughter goes, okay, everyone, get pinching. And they start to pinch all of the horrors around them, and they all start to deflate. And all the horrors run away scared, and they take a car, and the gates open. And they get on a bus. They get on the Horrorland bus, and they run away. And they're all like, wow, thank God we realized that because they take everything so seriously, of course they wouldn't want you to pinch them. There's one of the horrors chasing the bus, and it jumps onto the back of the bus, and nobody can stop it, and it gets inside, and the dad's driving, and everybody's like getting scared and backed away to the front of the bus, and they're like, what do you want? What do you want with us? And the monster goes, you forgot your passes for next year. End of the book. That's how it ends.
I don't know why you hated it. That sounded amazing.
That last, the one genuine laugh I got was, you forgot your family passes for next year.
Such a dumb fucking book. So, something I want to point out, there's 2 really bad cliffhanger endings in this book where they just straight up lie to you. The first one is when they...
Good writing.
Yeah. The first one is where they reunite with the parents and Lizzie's like, oh no, someone's grabbed my shoulder and is pushing me into the river. Oh no, I'm not actually being pushed. It's just my parents coming in to hug me. How do you confuse pushing with hugging? I don't know. And then there's the monster scene where it's like, 3 survived, 2 dead. And then she finds the brother and Clay's like, my parents are dead? And then the guy on the mic is like, oh, my mistake, you're all alive. Whoops.
Thank you, Stein. I had my first note is he had the audacity to open with a promise of future scares. Then my second note is, and then immediately steals from the castle. I cannot remember exactly what the rip is, and it's not intentional, but the castle has a very specific, stupid brand of humor where it's like they say the dumbest shit possible, but they believe it, and the joke is that they're stupid, but they're genuine. And it was just something like that.
Okay.
It sounded it's like when they go, never mind.
Okay, am I cutting this out?
Maybe. Okay. Quote, its red eyes glowed with evil. Literally, what the fuck?
It glowed with evil.
It glowed with evil. It reminds me of some of the end of chapter text in the original Quake that John Romero wrote. One of them is like, you hold the amulet and it throbs evilly in your hand. How the fuck does something throb with evil?
Hyper-realistic blood.
Oh, dude.
I do have a quote here. Hang on.
While you're looking for that.
So, yeah, go ahead.
This is another book where Stein says, fuck it, and lets us in on the fun, but the problem is I wasn't having any fun.
Yeah, I actually wrote a note on the ending where it's like, they did Camp Nightmare again, but then they just kept going. Where it's like, this was a prank the entire time, it was a setup, and then the book just keeps going.
At least it like follows through on that. I respect it more. Obviously there's no respect for Camp Nightmare, it's at the bottom of the leaderboard for a reason.
I like a horror quote, a person can only die once here, no one has ever died twice.
Yeah, the way they just speak like... Yeah, the horrors are fun. The horrors are fun.
Yeah, loved the horrors.
My last note was the coffin ride.
Yeah.
A coffin ride happens in like every Dark Souls game. If you ever see like a coffin next to like a river of blood, you know you're getting in that coffin and you're riding down that waterfall. It happens in Elden Ring. Like even this year, motherfucker is still pulling the exact same thing. And that was in Horrorland. So Horrorland is actually part of the Dark Souls chronology now. Yeah, I think it fits in right before number 2.
Any coffin rides that are featured in a piece of media is now part of the Dark Souls.
It's part of Dark Souls. It's connected. Yeah. It's like poetry. It rhymes. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's frustrating. It's fine.
Simpsons Hit and Run kind of rips off the plot at the end there. Do you remember the plot to Hit and Run?
I never finished Hit and Run.
Oh, okay. So at the end of level 5, you find out that Kang and Kodos behind everything. Mm-hmm. They've been feeding the town with Buzz Cola, which is meant to make them crazy, and it makes them more entertaining to watch on the Alien channel, whatever that is. And it's like a hidden camera show.
Is it a comment on how The Simpsons as a show progressively gets weirder and weirder?
It could be. Let's say it is.
Done.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's a comment on flanderization.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of just want to talk about the TV adaptation now.
yeah. Look, that's about all that. We've seriously started talking about
Simpsons,
hidden meaning in the Hit and Run.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say about this book. It's weird. I don't know. It's not going high in the ranking, but it's not bad. The TV adaptation.
Holy shit, we need to talk about the TV adaptation. So let's make a rule. We'll talk about part 1, and then we'll get to part 2, okay?
It's not going to take us very long to get to part 2.
So part 1, our expectations was, okay, this is 2 parts, so we're going to stretch it out. They don't. They cut shit out.
When we started it, I was like, it's a 2-parter. So
Yeah.
I was like, they are not cutting a single thing. It is going to be beat for beat, word for word, one day at Horrorland. And I kind of thought that, as much as I'm not excited for it, I can see why they'd want to do it that way.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, again, for something as iconic to the brand as Horrorland. There's no Haunted Mask board game.
Yeah.
There's no Slappy board game. There's a Horrorland board game. There's video games of Goosebumps that are very specifically Horrorland.
Yeah. There's a guide in the back of this book dedicated to how to beat that game.
Yeah, so we'll have to use that eventually.
Yeah.
That's a stale bread playthrough for sure,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't think they were going to cut a single fucking thing out of this.
Clay's gone.
No Clay.
They keep 2 rides. House of Mirrors, Coffin Ride.
That's it. No slide.
Yep.
Do they ever split up for the parents? They do.
Yeah, they do. So
the car.
oh, the car.
The car does not blow up.
Well, we didn't think it was going to blow up because they get into Horrorland and the car hasn't blown up yet. Horrorland is just a park with like some shitty decorations everywhere.
Yeah.
And we see a horror later put a little device under the car.
Not
So,
even
like,
later. It was like as soon as they got out of the car, they parked on top of a sewage
Yeah.
grate, and then you just as soon as they get out of the car, you see the grate open, and the horror goes.
Yeah. So there's seeds of something's going to happen with this car. We thought it was going to blow up. Something we need to mention is we're like, okay, how are they going to do the horrors? And there's a lot of horrors in this episode, and how they afford that is that the costumes are garbage.
They're not all of them.
Yeah.
They prioritize the horrors that do the most talking.
Yeah.
They have honestly pretty good effects. For
The
the
mouths
budget
don't
they
move.
have, the mouths don't move too
Yeah.
much. But they look really nice.
Yeah.
Or at least they look nice enough. They're enough for me to believe it, and it doesn't hurt to look at them for too long.
Yeah.
And then you get some. I can already picture the one you're going to use. I don't even know how to explain it.
Like they got the weird
That-
eye thing
That
going
one
on.
monster, that one horror that you're going to put up a clip of right now, disgusting.
Yeah, I didn't know what that thing was. I think a scene we need to talk about is they're in the House of Mirrors. Lizzie genuinely believes she's going to die. It's very dramatic. And then it just cuts to the parents receiving like a drink out of a horror's finger.
He just goes, scary movie free, when the alien's like, we pee out of our fingers, and then Leslie Nielsen goes, so we're not that different.
Yeah, it's that.
He pours a drink like that.
Yeah.
Somebody help me, please!
See, what? Ooh. You want some cream? No. Oh, that is disgusting. I love that. Oh my god, I love that's like it's cutting back and forth between like a woman believing she's about to die and 2 people drinking fingernail juice.
Finger juice.
Why wasn't that the title of a Goosebumps book? I was about to say something. Yes. Do you remember what happens as they're getting into Horrorland?
No.
The lights? I can't even describe it.
No.
They get into a bunch, there's like signs, and there's this big light show that like...
Oh, there's like a really spooky...
Yeah.
You can like vaguely see it. There's like a monster looking thing.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
describe it. It's a horror from which I cannot describe.
But you can show it.
Yes.
Which
you
is
get
more
to
than
see it.
Lovecraft could ever do.
Yes. So they do the coffin ride, and the book basically ends with the family being cornered by a bunch of horrors. Is there anything else you feel like we need to mention about part 1 before we get to part 2?
What was it was like such like a nothing ending for the first episode.
They just get confronted by the horrors.
Yeah, I was thinking like, okay, the car's gonna blow up at the end of episode 1. That's their cliffhanger. It kind of makes sense for them to hold on to its big effect of the episode.
Yeah.
There's no real reason to blow it up earlier. It
Yeah.
works rather well in episode 1. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I was really worried they were going to blow up the car. We'll get to it.
Episode 2.
We'll get to it.
I told you it wouldn't take us very long to get to episode 2.
So, part 2, it does the thing where it's like, this was a prank the whole time. It's like it's a hidden camera show. No, it isn't. There's security cameras everywhere. They literally point it out in the episode.
They get to it at the start of episode 2.
Yeah.
Start of episode 2, they go, it's a hidden camera show.
Yeah.
So that means that the last, 5 chapters of Horrorland
It's an entire
is the
episode.
entirety of episode 2.
Yeah.
Which is fucking stellar. Mwah.
I loved what we got. So
It's fucking good.
So it's a game show. It's basically Wheel of Fortune. They go into this big studio audience thing.
What was it called?
I don't know. But you got your host. He's in a big suit. He's talking them up. It's fun, and
it's a really good horror effect as well for that guy. That was the best one they had.
Yeah.
Obviously, he carries the entire episode 2.
All right, Morrisons, go ahead now and guess a letter.
It's one day at Horrorland. That's the answer. Final answer.
There you go.
One day at Horrorland. Final answer. There's a bunch of fake commercials in the game show.
So fucking
They were my favorite part. There's like a kid's toy commercial where like a monster is bashing up these human dolls. There's an ad for a romance album.
Yes.
Do you remember, was it My Flesh Crawls Towards
Yeah,
You?
my flesh crawls towards you.
It's so weird. I love it.
I want to hold your claws. This is a limited one-time offer. 50 monster love hits.
Goosebumps was weird this week.
My flesh is crawling over to you.
Goosebumps was real fucking weird this week. And they're like, the answer to one of the questions is the Morris family is lunch. And the mom's like, the Morris family is lunch. Wait, what?
The Morris family is lunch?
Dun, dun.
You're right.
Wait a minute, what do you mean by lunch?
The Morris family is lunch. The Morris family is lunch?
I hate that I could get that.
So something we forgot to mention, there's like a horror that's been like telling them, you can trust me, I'm one of the good ones.
Oh, sorry. He appears once in episode 1, and he appears
yeah.
once in episode 2.
And he like helps them get out. And they get into their car and we're like, oh my god, they're gonna blow up the car with them inside. Oh my god, please just blow up the car with them in it, I'm begging you. Like, what a way to end.
They'll start driving away, and the horrors will be like, the meat's a little overcooked.
And they're driving away, and I'm like, what's gonna happen? And then it cuts to the host with a remote control, and he's controlling the car with the device, and he drives them onto a cliff.
Will the Morris family ever get out of Horrorland? Who next to the Monster Channel? I am sick of these scary human shows.
Well, perhaps we should just talk.
That's a good idea.
End it here. End it here.
Cockroach?
Oh, thank you, darling.
End it here. Yes. 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 What a fucking weird month.
I'm going to bed.
What a weird... So many choices were made just then.
I'm going to bed.
Who cares about endings when we can do what we just did?
Please watch this episode.
Some choices were made.
If you watch any episode of this show, just watch One Day in Horrorland Part 2. Maybe follow it up with Haunted Mask just so you feel good about yourself after. But holy shit, this episode. Fucking insane.
Can we have more of this, please? They weren't even trying to be scary. They were just like, fuck it, it's a game show now.
They won.
They
won this time.
Yeah.
Good job, Canadian TV producers for children. You win this time. I don't have much else to say.
It speaks for itself.
Just fucking watch it. Just fucking watch it. Holy shit.
We got some weird TV adaptations this month, and they were the best parts of this month, easily. Let's rank these fuckers.
No, you gotta tell me what actually happened first. That wasn't real. You made that up.
The horrors say you just gotta click your heels together 3 times.
The real horrors were the friends we made along the way.
Welcome to the House of Mirrors.
House of, what's that say?
The people who live in Paris. Oh, it's the House of Mirrors.
Yeah.
Mirrors live in Paris,
font,
guys.
awful font, not our fault.
Yeah. Where the fuck are we putting these?
I really don't know. Okay, let's go from the bottom.
Yeah?
So is You Can't Scare Me better than Camp Nightmare?
Yes.
Yes. Is it better than Fever Swamp?
Yes.
Yes. Is it better than Curse Mommy's Tomb?
Yes.
Yes. Is it better than Piano Lessons? Yes. Is it better than Be Careful What You Wish For?
I'm leaning towards yes.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. Say Cheese
And I'm going
Die.
to say it's better than Say Cheese and
Yeah.
Die, which means it goes below Dead House.
I think that's very fair. Okay.
Okay. So, what's happening here? We've reached 15.
What are we doing?
And we have one more to put up today.
Yeah.
So, let's indulge me for a moment,
Yeah.
dear viewers. Is One Day in Horrorland better than Camp Nightmare?
Yes.
Yes. Fever Swamp?
Yes.
Let's just go ahead and say it's better than You Can't Scare Me. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yes.
Against my heart, but with my brain, yes.
Okay. Which I don't think is better than Dead House.
No, it's not.
Okay.
This is the first time we've had 2 books ranked together since month 1.
Yeah, and that was by necessity in month
Yes.
1. Yeah.
Holy shit, alright.
Okay.
Yeah, alright.
So, I'll be right back. This is the trash. Hadley, if you're not in the top 15,
You go in the bin.
fuck you. Good riddance, Camp Nightmare.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck that book. Alright.
It was pretty bad.
It's so fucking bad. Well,
Okay.
so now the hunt is on for the first book that doesn't even make it to the board. It just goes straight in the bin. I can't fucking wait.
It's gonna happen more and more, but speaking of waiting, what do we have next month, Jared?
Next month we have Why I'm Afraid of Bees.
Bees!
What's the other one? It's not Deep Trouble, is it?
No.
I can't remember the other one.
Monster Blood 2.
Monster Blood 2?
Our first sequel.
Fuck yes.
I am excited for both of them. Yeah, Miss Deuce.
This is Monster Blood.
Yeah.
I think it's very cute. Haley did a very good job.
Thank you.
Moose Deuce.
I did not read Monster Blood 2 as a kid, but I read Why I'm Afraid of Bees as a kid.
Was it a nice wedding?
Yeah. No, I actually quite remember a lot of the plot, and I have a story to tell when we get to it.
Oh dear lord.
I actually have a story to tell when I read it as a kid.
Obviously, I quite like the first Monster Blood, in
Yes.
spite of its flaws and its spontaneous witch. Moose Deuce 2 has the potential to be very interesting. I'm genuinely very excited for next month.
Yeah. Please do
Holy
not
shit.
disappoint me.
Oh my god.
Please do not disappoint me.
Monster Blood 4, that's going to be a very interesting one. And that's the last one, isn't it? It's the
Yeah.
very last one in the
Very
series.
nice book.
Yeah, that's got one of the most interesting covers. That one just sticks out. It just fucking
very
sticks
blue.
out. Yeah, and that's what makes it
Very
stick
blue.
out so much.
Yeah.
You got any other blue ones? Horrorland.
Yeah. It's like a dark blue.
Yeah.
That one, because
That's
of Mummy's
actually
Tomb's
really
also
nice
blue.
colours that it
Yeah.
fades into down the end there.
Yeah, a little sunset going
That's a
on.
really good cover.
Can we have a video just dedicated to gushing about the covers?
Well, when I eventually get my hands on the art book, like, sure.
Yeah.
The very, very good Goosebumps art book that reveals a good couple details about the covers that gets cut out sometimes because of the overlays they need to have. we're talking about random bullshit right now. Thank you for watching. Next month, next month. Bees and
Bees! Do not cut because we need B-roll footage. Thank you.
Bees roll.
Bees! I am a bee!